I remember in some meetings with the Taliban, and I realized that the Taliban, when you talk to them on a personal basis, first of all, they were all of them in their 20s, young boys, very sincere people. The real problem with them was ignorance. They're so ignorant. So ignorance, one of them said, no, but the Christians are doing this. And then I stopped and said, which Christian you are talking about? That. And then I was more shocked when I realized that the man never heard about Catholic, Protestant. I told him, listen, now they have completely different religion, and there are so many other groups, and I was a little bit so shocked. It's the same thing in the Islamic world. It's a huge, it's so disparate, it's have so many tendencies, so many forces, so many way of thinking, so many schools. So it's a dialogue between Muslim and Christian. You know, when I'm talking, I can, as a Muslim, have so many affinities with a lot of my Christian friend or Jewish friend or Buddhist or whatever, than with some other Muslims. You know, it's those are realities. You know, there are so many dimensions in life.
What we ought not to do is to allow fundamentalists and extremists in either of our societies, either whether in the West or in the Islamic world. We ought not to allow the extremists whose agenda dictates a clash. We have to marginalize them in both societies, in the Islamic world as well as in the Western world.
We will not allow fanaticism to distort our perception of each other. This we should always resist.
And we have to promote a common approach in the middle among those who have moderate, tolerant understanding of the complexities of each other's societies and are able to work together.
The best education is based on what happened really through history, without any complex, based on pushing young people to understand the others. And based, especially, I don't like the word tolerance. I don't like tolerance just because tolerance should be only just the first step and the beginning, because when you are tolerant, it means that you disagree with someone and you let him live. I would rather prefer the word respect. The German and the French, they had war religion between Catholic and Protestant, cultural hatred. Then the two people, they get a wonderful chance after the drama of Second World War to have two visionary men. They agreed about very small things to rebuild a new Europe, that now we have a generation they can never and ever imagine a possibility again between of war between France and Germany. So if it was possible in Europe, why not in the Middle East? Maybe of the lack of visionaries.
How can we dramatically make a change in terms of building up a more global solidarity? Utopias, but it's achievable. It's achievable anyway. It's achievable anyway. It's a matter of bringing about some concessions and rethink deeper and positively how we interact as nations globally and as human beings.
At a time when we have been through all those experiences of ethnic cleansing, it is important to show that the only ethically and morally acceptable way of doing things is to bring people together.
When the country was finally liberated, we had decades in which we had an economic crisis. At time, we thought that this crisis was having no way out. Nowadays, the majority of the American people think of Vietnam as a country and not as a war like before, doing trade and investment. So that trend is a good trend.
Something I would call a miracle that took place in Rwanda. It's you can't just believe that after such a catastrophe taking place, you will see a change, and there has been a change. You know, having to deal with a situation of total despair, of total destruction, hopelessness, if I can put that way. When people had completely lost any belief in life, any belief in love. achieving that is part of this political will, which our leadership tried to get all the lay people to own.
Some of the responsibility lies on us as well. I mean, we don't just blame the others. We are not behaving as mature people. We have to look in our past in order to learn and see what went wrong and try to correct it and taking into account, you know, the other and building the future.
East Timor, we lost 1/3 of our population. Every family in East Timor, at least one of them died or in prison because of perhaps the hope that we had international community, good people all over the world, that we never had to use extreme option like killing a civilian.
You cannot solve problems of relations between people, between human beings by violence. At the end of the day, you cannot solve the problems.
The leaders have to be clear. You know. Everybody can be changed. Human beings, they are basically have the good inside. Killing an Indonesian civilian will not help our cause, but will undermine the Timorese cause, will create more enemies than friends, will create more hatred and more hatred. During these years, we always try to have a dialogue. And during the process, many Indonesians joined and they help the Timorese. And so today it's easy to start a new relations with Indonesia.
The UN designated the year 2001 as the Year of Dialogue Among Civilizations, and this was basically the philosophy. Unfortunately, what happened on 9/11 just preceded by a few weeks the commemoration of that in the United Nations, and 9/11 overshadowed everything that we did. But I don't think it is too late to go back to that, because the concept is very much alive.
We have one of our ex-presidents is a Nobel Peace Prize laureate, and he managed to push forward a peace plan in Central America when it was a very convulsed region full of revolutionary groups and dictatorships. And he did so not with teeth. Costa Rica did not have any teeth to enforce peace. He managed to do what the US and Ronald Reagan in particular tried to do through teeth and failed. You know? So I think that in history you can find many other instances in which just through patience and dialogue you get what you're striving for. And obviously at a much less human cost. And then the possibilities of truly building the peace after is a lot easier.
It's always preferable to have a very nasty debate here than to have a very little war somewhere. It's much better. So I think that is a sign of evolution in the international system.